Mr. Anderson, in a public lecture in Great Falls, you said to build better ties with Latin America, we should give the Panama Canal back to Panama. How do you respond to those who say the canal would fall into communist hands if this was done?
Well, it wouldn't matter too much because we don't need the canal for our defense anymore. We're not going to wage the next war through the Panama Canal. Our aircraft carriers can't get through the Panama Canal. But the charge that it's going to fall into communist hands is a red herring. There's no indication of that. There's no reason to believe it. Omar Torrijos is a right-wing dictator. He's not a communist dictator. If Panama did go communist and we really needed the canal for some vital military reason, and I can't anticipate that that would happen, but if we did need it, we're bigger than Panama.
Do you think the chances of the Panama Canal treaties passing in this Congress are good?
Well, the best I've been able to count the votes, it's about 50-50.
So with that, then it's very much up in the air and it could extend to the next session?
I don't think either side is confident yet of a victory. Of course, it takes 2/3 of the Senate to ratify the pact. It doesn't mean that the Senate is divided 50-50. The overwhelming majority of the Senate is in favor of the treaties, but it's going to take 2/3 in order to get it passed.
All right. Mr. Anderson, the most mysterious figure associated with Watergate was the inside informer known as Deep Throat. Do you have a theory on who that person is?
Well, I'd have more than a theory because I was writing the Watergate story at the same time that the Washington Post was, and I know where they got their information because I was getting my information from the same place. Their stories came from the Washington field office of the FBI. I don't mind saying that because I think the FBI should deserve some credit for having dug out the details of Watergate. But that's where our stories were coming from. There's no question about it. It's not a matter of guessing. I know where my information came from, and I recognize theirs. They were getting the same information, and I know where they got theirs.
In many of his speeches, Mr. Dean is going around saying he's about ready to reveal this source. He's been in touch with the person. He's still in a high government position. Do you think that's just a smokescreen from Mr. Dean, who's making a lot of money on these lectures that he's making? I
cannot imagine that Bob Woodward would ever tell John Dean who his deep throat was. And I doubt very much that John Dean has much of an idea.
Do you ever see a Koreagate being developed out of the testimony that Tongsun Park is now making in Washington?
No. I broke the Korea story back in 1974. At that time I wrote that Tongsun Park was lobbying on behalf of South Korea and that he had some fascinating congressional contacts. I named only Richard Hanna. At this point, that's the only congressman who's been indicted. I think that maybe 2 or 3 more might be indicted.
I see.
There simply is not enough evidence to prove that Tongsun Park represented himself to congressmen as a KCIA agent. He didn't go up on Capitol Hill saying, I am a South Korean agent who came to bribe you. He told these congressmen that he was a businessman who had come to contribute to their campaigns. And in 1974, that was neither illegal nor even improper.
I see. In your 30 years in your position in Washington, is there one public figure who you have enjoyed the most needling? You called yourself a needle who loves to blow the hot air out of some of those windbags. Has there been one that you've really had a ball needling and whose needling you've done has really gotten to, would you say?
No, that's a hard question to answer. I suppose that I can't say that I enjoy thrusting the needle into people. I've never met a person yet who didn't convince himself that what he was doing was right. And it's kind of a cruel thing to demolish somebody who has talked himself into believing, at least, that he is right. Of course, the one who deserved it the most was Richard Nixon.
We've been talking today with Jack Anderson, investigative reporter, and for MTN, this is Norma Ashby. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson.
Pleasure.
Do you think there'll ever be a day when television will televise